So you just got out of your scholarship and you're planning on getting a new Axie Infinity team just for yourself. Well, this video is going to be perfect for you because I'm going to be going over the most budget-friendly compositions that you could possibly look for in Axie Infinity. Now, you could go for floor teams, but these teams are very stable. They're very easy to use, and for the next season at least, they should be stable. With that being said, let's get right into it. I don't want to stall any longer. Okay, so first one you're going to want to see is BBP. Now, BBP stands for Bead Burst Plant. The plant is going to be very similar most of the time. You're always going to want to have Sirius on this plant. Pumpkin is always recommendation on this plant. Something like Cactus could be very good for this plant. And last but not least, I always like to go Hotbutt over Carrot. Now, if we're looking for cheap alternatives, always put Pureness on 6, by the way, for plants. The floor for these is 313, but if you go out here and then we put Carrot, then you'll see that, let's see if it loads up, it's a bit cheaper. So if you're looking for a bit of a cheaper option, now this option is a bit more RNG-esque, which is random number generated, in terms of like, they can predict that you use this Carrot and then they can steal the energy that you get from this. So this isn't always the best card to use. A lot of people prefer using Hotbutt because of the fact that you can use the Hotbutt and then you could use any energy gain cards that you have on the backline or anywhere else to stack energy without them really being able to do anything. Now, if you can't, do those $20, then for sure do Carrot over Hotbutt, but people usually go for Hotbutt. So let me go ahead, grab the Hotbutt over here. So next, you're going to want to get a Beast. So the Beast is going to be pretty basic. Now, there are a few ways you can do this, but the most common way is a Ramp Double Nutcracker. So this is kind of what you saw on my profile picture for the longest time. I love Rimps. I used to breed these guys all the time. I just breed like a bunch of 100% Rimps. I practically like ran that market at some point, but it was really fun running that market, gonna be honest. So a Ramp Double Nutcracker, guys. This is the dream. Wait, nut throw. There it is. I was about to say, I was like, what's going on here? Okay. Yeah, so 270 is the floor price for these guys. Pretty expensive. Now, what you can also do is look for multiple alternatives. Now, we can also add things like Dual Blade on there. We could add like Furball on there. See, just here, there's a cheaper Dual Blade Ronin. And Ronin Dual Blade isn't bad either, because the thing about Ronin is, at least, as long as you have 2 other cards, it's okay. Because Dual Blade does a lot of damage. Dual Blade debatably does the most damage out of any other beast card. So I would always recommend looking over these cards and seeing what's best for you. Now, lastly, we're going to have a bird. So the bird is going to be a Cupid Little Owl. Come on, you can type. Eggshell. And last but not least, this is what makes these birds so strong. All Out Shot. So, All Out Shot is probably one of the best cards in the game. Because, look at this. You inflict 30% of damage to yourself, but, I mean, birds don't matter. Their health is completely irrelevant. What's really important is them pumping out damage, and having a 120 damage card for no cost is ridiculous. Not only do you have that, but you got the Eggshell for Aroma if you want to bait things. Aroma, what it is if you plop it on an Axie, then that Axie is going to want to attack you because you get it on yourself. And until the next round, they're just going to be hamming at you. And if you want to sacrifice your Axie so that another Axie can attack, you could always do Eggshell. This is really cool utility-wise, and Cupid has a ton of damage, so I'd always recommend that as well. So another thing you could also do is add Raven on there. Raven is pretty good as well, and usually it goes for cheaper. It just has a little bit less damage, but a little bit more shield, and it applies Jinx, so not the worst thing in the world. 61 speed, though, vital. Always have 61 speed on your bird. If you have less, you're doing it wrong. Always 6 out of 6 purity, these birds. So that is Bead Burst Plant. So the next one I'm going to be talking about is Aqua Plant, or my personal favorite. So Aqua Plant, pretty basic. If we can go back here, it uses this exact Hotbutt plant. After that, you're going to want a midline, so you're going to want a Nemo. You could have Sponge on him, but that usually makes him a little bit more expensive, so don't really look into it if you're trying to get that cost coverage. Usually, it'll be something like a Goldfish, a Risky Fish, and then if you can go here and put 6 out of 6 purity, you could do things like a Shoal Star or even an Aranda. Now, if you're going to have the same speed as the guy in the backline, then every time the Axie is going to target the Axie in front of him if this is a target fastest enemy card. And a lot of bird cards have this. So I would say skimp out on the whole show star thing for your midline. And every time, at least this is what I do, I take off the show star and do the Aranda because that little bit of shield might be the difference between life or death. Aranda, it just does a little bit more damage. It end targets last stand. Not as good as show star because if show star hits, it just takes off last stand. So, I mean, I don't really care about the effect. I care about the damage and the shield for this card. You get speed plus here. You get energy over here. You get attack plus versus pretty much what is the meta right now, which is plant reptile or dust targets. You get 57 speed, which is pretty important. But as long as you have somewhere in the ballpark of 52/54 plus, you'll be okay if you want to do something like a little branch Axie here in the midline. So last but not least is going to be your backline. So this guy is going to be very similar. He's going to be Risky Fish, Goldfish, and then we're going to give him, let's see, we're going to give him a Koi, and then we'll give him Shoal Star. This guy is going to be pretty cheap with 6 out of 6 purity. Around $260. So the great thing about this backline is that he has Koi, which is apply speed plus of this Axie for 2 rounds when comboed with another aquatic class card. You use this, only one of these is enough most of the time. You use this and you're faster than the bird. You move first and then you just smack him around and just kill him. Pretty much most of the time this is it. Just 3 high damage cards plus the Koi and it's over in the backline. That is AAP. Now, Aqua Beast Plant is very similar. I already have 2 of the cards here. So I've got the Koi, which is this one. Then you've got Plantito, which is which is the Hot Butt Plant. And then your midline is going to be the Rimp. If you want me to show it again, I'm just going to plop this over here. It's a Ronin, Imp, double Nutcrack. So Nutcrack, then Nut Throw, 6 out of 6 purity, and that's your team. That's all it is. This guy's the midline, this guy's the front line, and then this guy's the back line. Don't really mess with it too much. That's all it is. So honorable mentions. These guys are more expensive, but I mean, if you're looking for nice teams, this can be the way to go. So lagging, then it'll be something like Allergic Reaction, and then Tiny Turtle. And then you can mess around with it a little bit, but don't mess around with it too much. If you do, you could kind of screw yourself over. So 42 speed is what you're looking for with these cards. Wow, it's not working for me. There it is. All right. Then we go to Reptile. But, I mean, you have to think about it in the sense that these guys have to have a certain card combination in order to function properly. So what are we missing here? We have Lagging, Thorny Caterpillar, Tiny Turtle. Last one we need is Snail Shell. Now with Snail Shell, if I can plop it right, is it 3 out of something like, yeah, it's one of these. All right, so if you get 2 of these guys on the top dominant, then you'll have 42 speed. And the crazy thing about 42 speed is that it is actually a bit faster than a Ronin Imp Beast, if I can go find that. I don't think I really need to do anything crazy, just 6 out of 6. That should work just fine. Yeah, see, 41 speed is a pure beast, so you always want to be a little bit ahead if you can afford it. It's kind of expensive. I mean, like, this is the midline, $370, and then the backline is $283, so, I mean, pretty expensive, but, I mean, if you're going to do this, it's very good. It's definitely going to get you higher in MMR. At least for now, we don't know what the nerfs are going to be for Terminators, but what you would do is you get something like maybe like a Leaf Bug, because we need some energy generation, excuse me. We need energy generation. Then you would do something like a Yam. And then we do like a Sirius in there. And then you can kind of play around with everything else that you can do. But most people, I mean, they do cactuses. They'll do like a cactus in there. And that's pretty much the simplified version of it. It's not the most expensive thing in the world, but it gets the job done. I mean, it's not a bad card at all. And I would recommend it if you want to save money. Get the cactus alternative. If you don't want to save money, but you want to get a better Axie, then I would go with the Leaf Bug alternative. Now, lastly, like, you can play around with it all you want, But that's pretty much what you're going to want to do. I mean, most people end up doing like the pumpkin, which is pretty standard, and it's 315. So it's a very expensive team, but it works. And that's pretty much going to be my showcasing of the most basic Axie Infinity teams that work. Now, what would I recommend? For budget, I would recommend the AAP or BBP. And for trying to get some MMR, RAP is very good as well. It's just use the midline Aqua that I said for AAP. It's the Nemo one. And just plop it there. Or you could even do a Shrimpinator, but that's a bit more complicated. You're going to have to do your research on that one because this is just basic cards. With that being said, that's pretty much going to be it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Be sure to smash that like button if you want to see more Axie Infinity / NFT play to earn content. I have a lot of cool stuff coming out for you guys, all you little beautiful people out there. Thank you very much for watching my video. This is Classy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Stay safe and stay classy.